Welcome, everyone. I'm Gustavo Tolosa, your book club host and producer, and this is the big season finale. Today is our last session of the online book club for the year 2020. And well, boy, has this been a year. This book club today, this session will be shorter because I only have a little bit, one topic I want to cover. And then I want to try to stay to the end. Like I said, it's going to be a short session to hear some of my closing thoughts, announcements, surprises that I want to share with you. And please feel free to write in the chat or to write in the comment section if you're watching this on YouTube. So let's go ahead and finish our book, our third book for the year. And then I will share with you some things that are from my heart. And thank you again for joining us today. So what are we going to do today? Well, we are in the appendix session of the book. It's on page 267 in the printed version. And it's about something that it used to be kind of a mystery to me when I heard this term, which was the elimination diet. And to me, it sounded strange when I heard it. When I heard this term, because it said eliminate. What are we eliminating, or who? Hopefully, it's not a who, but and then you learn. That was part of my learning time. I've been now a whole food plant-based coach and producer and cook for 7 years. But at the beginning, I didn't know anything. So I'm very glad that I have been able to interview and meet and make friends with many of these wonderful, wonderful doctors and chefs and nutritionists and psychologists. And I'm thankful that I can share this knowledge with you. So let's go to page 267, appendix. And just to mention that in my YouTube channel, there is a place that says playlist, and the videos are organized. So there is a playlist that is called Online Book Club. And there you can watch the other two books that we read. The Starch Solution by Dr. John McDougall, one of the most brilliant books that I have read. And then, of course, his latest book, which is also brilliant, and it comes with a surprise in the middle of the book, and that's called The Healthiest Diet on the Planet. And then this is our third. So let's go to the appendix, and it says, an elimination diet for identifying problem foods. So you may be familiar with this, but I know that many of you that might be watching this later on don't know what it means, or may know vaguely what it means. So yes, like Lori says, the word elimination has so many varied implications. So let's go ahead. Many people find that joint pain, headaches, and inflammatory conditions improve when they avoid certain trigger foods. But which foods are they, So how do you find out what foods are giving you joint pains or headaches or inflammatory conditions or whatever it may be that is troubling you. So a food that might be tolerated perfectly well by one person might cause a massive headache for someone else. Like we said at the beginning of this book club, we start this from the premise that we're all different and that we're all at different parts of our journey. So an elimination diet will help you identify your problem foods. That's what it will do. You might want to try this. This is an elimination diet, like Dr. Neil Barnard says in the book, is something that is not permanent. It's something that you will try for a short period of time until you figure out what foods are causing you the problem. So, like it says here, it's usually 10 days or so, maybe 2 weeks. The diet focuses on foods that are known to be safe for virtually everyone, while eliminating everything else. Then, if the pain has improved, the eliminated foods are returned to the diet in a systematic way to show whether they trigger pain. Then in the future, you can avoid the foods that trigger your pain. Many people have long-lasting relief. So on page 268, it says, the elimination phase is this, okay, is using pain-safe foods. So you eliminate, or you, let's say it another way, we limit to very few pain-safe foods. And it is not intended for long-term use. So during this time, the diet emphasizes grains for one thing, and then the other thing is cooked vegetables with more modest portions of other foods. So then Dr. Barnard gives you a list of what these pain-safe foods are. So he says, make sure that you prepare abundant quantities because there are no limits on calories and portion sizes when you're eating these foods right here. So what are they? Well, grains, oatmeal, unflavored, okay? Rice, hot breakfast cereal, brown rice. Other types of rice are fine too. Quinoa, rice pasta, buckwheat, amaranth, millet, and teff. So those are the grains that are safe for most everyone. You can have unlimited quantities of those grains. Then the vegetables. The vegetables should be cooked until soft. Generally, they're steamed. I like them steamed. And they could be boiled. So a standard serving would be approximately 1.5 cups. Carrots can also be juiced. So what are some of these vegetables that you can eat in unlimited quantities but cooked, not raw? Carrots, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale, cabbage, cauliflower, chard, collards, lettuce, squash, summer squash or winter squash, spinach, and asparagus, one of my favorite. Then, under fruits, there are only 4 fruits that are safe, really, really safe. I mean, of course, we're talking about an elimination diet here, so everything in the plant world is safe. But we're talking about now something that you can do for 2 weeks if you have a certain problem and you want to figure out if eliminating 1 or 2 foods will help. So fruits, you can have pears, apricots, blueberries, and plums. I love all of them. I could live on just those four for the rest of my life. Legumes, green beans, and lentils. That's it. And then sweetener, if you need it, it says brown rice syrup. I would try to not use a sweetener. Maybe you could soak dates in water, and you could use that water as a sweetener. And then it says oil. And it says, while it is best to minimize the use of oils, the addition of a modest amount of olive oil during the elimination phase is fine, either for sauteing or as a topping. So now this is my personal opinion. I would leave it out. It's just 10 days. You really can live without almost, anything for just 10 days or 2 weeks. I would leave it out, but if you need to use it, I would use it raw. I just would not use it for sauteing, but this is my personal opinion. Condiment and spices, he says, for this short period, it is good to omit condiments and spices other than salt. So then on page 270, it says calories and protein in common foods. And here is a list of common foods with the calories and the protein, so that you know that there's nothing to worry about. For your reference, most people need about 50 grams of protein. That's very little. We don't need unlimited amounts of protein. We saw in this book and in the previous books the harm that excess protein does to our internal organs. We don't need unlimited amounts of protein, and much less animal protein. So, a day's menu including 6 cups cooked grains, 6 cups cooked green vegetables, half cup lentils, and a piece of fruit with no added oil provides approximately 1,800 calories, 1,800, and 62 grams of protein. So right there, you have already gotten your protein for the day and a little more. So then he talks about a word about vitamin B12, which I find that is the only thing that all plant-based doctors agree on. And that is something that it was interesting for me to see. Like I said, I had the privilege, I really mean it when I said that, of attending conferences and going to places and meeting these doctors and listening, and I could find the common grounds of each person. And nobody is exactly the same. They're not clones of each other. So there are differences. But there's one that they all agree on, and it is that if you follow a strict whole food plant-based diet for more than a year, Dr. McDougall says 2, then, and Dr. Barnard says, basically everybody take it all the time. B12 is necessary. But he says here that for this elimination diet only, it is not necessary because it's just 10, 12 days, 2 weeks. Okay. Making perfect oatmeal, he gives you a hint of how to make it, because you probably already experimented and see how you can have different textures of oatmeal. You can have very creamy, you can have medium, you can have more crunchy. And so he tells you that if you like it creamy, add the oatmeal to the water before turning on the heat. If you prefer a crunchier texture, boil the water before adding the oats. So the other thing is that he says, basically mix 1 part of oatmeal with 2 parts of water. Again, you will find your own, and you'll see what that is. So if I use 1 cup of oatmeal, I would put 2 cups of water. I probably put more water than that, but okay, we all are different again. So making perfect brown rice. Brown rice can be challenging because sometimes it can end up like some kind of a cardboard, and it's not very good when it's like that. So he says, try to find organic, short grain brown rice, which you can, find in almost any store. And he suggests that you rinse it 1 time. I like to rinse it 3 or 4 or 5 times because it gets some of the starch out and it doesn't stick so much. But again, those are things that I've learned from different chefs that I've worked with. Then he says, when you rinse it and it's dry, you put it in a pan, and for a minute or 2, you toast it. So that will add another flavor. Let's see what else. And then add 3 cups of water and bring to a boil, and reduce the heat for about 40 minutes. You don't have to wait until all the water is gone. You can then throw the excess away, and you have perfectly cooked brown rice. So that is the first phase, the elimination. And I see some comments here, so I will acknowledge that. One, remember, I think, not that I want to sound, what's the word that I'm looking for? Arrogant. But as far as I know, the largest number of webinars that you can find with Dr. McDougall are in my YouTube channel, simply for the reason that for this 5 or 6 years, I was the official webinar producer and host for the McDougall program. Then Dr. McDougall, we had covered just about every topic under the sun, and it was like, well, he moved on to something else, I moved on to something else, and we stopped the webinars. But if you go to my YouTube channel and go to the playlist there and go to McDougall webinars, there are hundreds, and just about every topic that you can think of is there. So have fun looking through that. It's a wealth of resources like nothing around. You really can learn just about anything you want about whole food, plant-based, from basically the person that started it all. One of the most important figures in plant-based nutrition. Wonderful, wonderful time that I had all those years. So, what else now? So you have eliminated everything and you're eating this list of foods that I just mentioned. So then, if an elimination diet has eliminated or greatly reduced your pain, so after those 10 days, 2 things will happen. Okay, nothing will happen, and whatever pain and issues you have will be the same. Hopefully that's not going to happen. Or your situation will have improved. And that means that there are some foods that you should eliminate. So the next step is to nail down which foods are, triggers. So to do this, you simply reintroduce each eliminated food one at a time every 2 days. You don't introduce everything at once in 1 day. To see whether pain results, it is important to introduce only one food at a time, okay? And don't start by reintroducing foods that you crave. Rather, start with the foods that you feel are least likely to cause the problem. So when you're introducing foods, start introducing things that you think that for your body are not going to cause a problem, are safe. Foods that you strongly suspect to be triggers should be introduced last. As you bring in each new food, have a generous amount. So when you introduce a new food, don't eat a little bit. Eat a generous amount, because that's how you're going to know if that is the food that is causing the problem. Later on, you may wish to try the suspect food once again for confirmation. Keep your diet simple so you can detect the effect of each newly added food. Meats, dairy products, and eggs are best left off your plate permanently. So, what are some of the pain triggers? Some of the pain triggers, let's see, go in this order. This is on page 272, from worst to better. So dairy products at the top of the list: meat, eggs, chocolate, citrus foods, fruits like oranges, grapefruit, lemons, limes, and citric acid, corn, wheat, barley and rye, nuts and peanuts, potatoes, sweet potatoes, tomatoes, eggplant, onions, celery, corn, apples, banana, alcoholic beverages, sugar, garbanzo beans or chickpeas, soy products, and then coffee, both regular and caffeine-free. Coffee can be a double-edged sword. Although some people find that caffeine in coffee can sometimes knock out a headache that is just starting, the coffee itself seems to trigger headaches. That is, there may be some constituent of the coffee bean other than caffeine that acts as a pain trigger. So that is how you try a elimination diet. And that is how we finish the book. So let's see here if I can answer any questions. Okay, that's all right. You all have wonderful comments, and I don't have anything to answer. If you want to type a question, please feel free to do so. So let's talk, before I do the wrap up, let's talk for a minute about the next book, our first book for 2021. And I'm going to put it here in the screen. I'm going to go to share the screen, and let's see. So this is the book. It's easiest and fastest to get this on Amazon. You can get the paper version, which I think is better always, or you can get the electronic. But I believe that if you go to the website, you can go to Google and type Own Your Health, and you will see a website that goes with this book. I believe you could order it directly from there too. So I am very excited about this because Glenn, even though he's not a doctor, a medical doctor like I'm not. But he has gathered so much information and is bringing it to you in such a everyday language. And in his book, there is a doctor feature and other people that I think you will enjoy reading about. And he is a wonderful writer. And then Chef AJ has provided many unique recipes that I think you will just love, and they will become staples in your, in your repertoire of recipes of food. So we will start this the first Saturday of January 2021, and we will cover probably about 2 chapters per week. And many of those weeks we will have a guest. We will have Glenn Mercer himself at least once, if not twice. We will have his wife that has a very interesting story to tell. We will have one of the doctors featured here, who is a very well-known plant-based doctor who I think you will really enjoy hearing. We will also have Chef AJ, who will entertain us, because besides being a wonderful person, a wonderful chef, a wonderful coach, she is an entertainer. She makes it fun. I haven't asked her yet. She and I are really good friends, and we, sometimes she asks me to be in her show. Sometimes I ask her. So I'm assuming she would say yes, but we'll see. So those are some of the things that will make this book club unique. And then Glenn told me that he wanted to do something special. So for those of you who buy the book, he says, who for any members of your book club who purchase the book, they need to forward me the receipt, I guess, the proof of purchase, to gmercer@aol.com. Just put Gustavo on the subject line, and then he will send you some bonus material. And I want to make sure that you understand that I haven't made any kind of arrangement with him. I'm not getting any kind of financial benefit. The only reason that he wants you to send him an email is so that he knows that you are in book club, and that he can send you this bonus material, which is going to be a PDF file of 25 bonus SOS salt, oil, and sugar-free healthy vegan recipes from his wife, Joanna. And also, he will send you a private video that is housed in Vimeo. And that video shows Chef AJ making her famous and most delicious carrot cake, I think, on the planet. And that recipe is not in the book. So you will see the video, and then he will send you a PDF with the actual recipe. Then he will put your name in a, let's see, if you tell him after you're done reading the book what chapter of the book was your favorite and why, he will enter your name in a raffle, and either he was telling me, either me or him, we will choose the names from the raffle. We'll pick names, and the winners will have an autographed copy of his novel, which is called Off the Reservation, about a vegan congressman from Indiana who runs for president. Off the Reservation has been optioned for a film, so maybe that will happen when the pandemic ends. So that is the plan for our next book club. And then after that, we have another exciting book that I am working on, planning. And let's see here. We're going to take this out. Here we go. So let's see. I was thinking about an hour. I've been thinking for about an hour today before this last session. And I started getting a little emotional because I started to remember how this all started and how we have been together for 7 months. Yes, 7 months for many of you. When the pandemic started, who knows exactly when it started, but when really it became known pretty much all over the world, it was in February or March. For me, it was almost the end of March. And it was very strange. And after the first week or so, after getting over the shock, I started thinking of what I could do in case that I had to be locked up for weeks or months and not go insane. So the idea of reading a book with others, but online, came about, and I started with the Start Solution, and many of you joined. And I have to express to you my gratitude for joining me. Many of you have been here every Saturday, and we have read 3 books together, and we have learned together. We have not only read the book, but I have shared with you stories of myself. I have read poetry to you. I have played the piano for you. I feel like you've been here, right here in this living room, in my kitchen. And it's been special. It's also been very hard at times because there were times when it felt like there was no light at the end of the tunnel. And at about the same time that I started this book club, I started making videos of my piano playing. You know, I'm a professor of piano and a concert pianist. So some of the concerts performances, well, not some, all of them that I had planned, they were all canceled. And so there was a time when I did feel really down. I don't know if to say depressed, because I don't really know exactly if it was depression, but there were tough times. And so I started practicing and playing the piano for you and for others through this medium. And in this year, I have also lost people that were dear to my heart that left us. In my case, they didn't pass away from the coronavirus, but those were sad times. But there were happy times too. And I want to read to you a quote from Martha Washington, the First Lady, wife of George Washington, the first president of the United States. And it says, "I am still determined to be cheerful and happy in whatever situation I may be. For I have also learned from experience that the greatest part of our happiness or misery depends upon our dispositions and not upon our circumstances." Well, I think we could ponder on these wise words for hours. And that's what I tried to do during this time. And I hope that with this little contribution of mine, that it has helped you. Now comes another strange time in my life, which is that next Saturday I will be leaving Argentina and traveling back to the United States. At this, I will be traveling with my mother, and because of the situation in Argentina, many airlines have left or have gone bankrupt. And so from my city, from this area, which is called Cordoba, to Buenos Aires, where I need to take the plane to go to Dallas, there is one airline and it's not reliable. So my dear mother, whom you have met also through the videos, and I will be driving to Buenos Aires for 9 hours. So, and in between, we don't know if we will be able to get through. I hope we will. I want to ask you to keep us in your thoughts and prayers. We need to print permits that the government requires and documents, and it is possible that at some point in that trip they'll tell us to turn around and come back here. In a way, I feel like the Von Trapp family when they were trying to escape and cross the Alps. So hopefully we will be able to arrive in Buenos Aires just fine and go to the international airport and maybe use the American Airlines, what do you call it, the lounge that they have. We love that. I think it's open. And then we will get on that plane. It's a direct flight from Buenos Aires to Dallas. And I don't want to think about wearing a mask for 11 hours because I can barely wear one for 11 minutes. So this whole thing is so surreal. It used to be so easy. I got on a plane here, went to, sometimes it was a direct plane from here to the US. Now it's not. And everything is unknown. So next Saturday, we will be at the airport. We'll be flying all night long and arriving in Dallas on Sunday early in the morning and going through probably, I don't know, thousands of pieces of mail. I haven't been to the US in almost a year. I wasn't planned like this. So it's a really happy feeling and a sad feeling. And I mean that because I'm happy to go back. I want to see my family there and my friends and my music school and my nonprofit organization. And at the same time, during this time here, I have made many dear friends and relationships, and I have family here too. So it's just strange feeling. And I just wanted to share that with you for whatever it's worth. And once more, to thank you for being here and looking forward to next year. Besides the book club, I will be back with the Chef and the Pianist series. And in February, I plan on doing a beautiful love and friendship show for those of you who have a significant other you want to share this with, or if you don't, you have a friend for friendship, and I will join forces with Shada, one of the best chefs out there. We will make it will be a chocolate webinar like you have never seen before. It will be a feast of chocolate, and the music, it's to die for. So that's coming in February, and for all of you, we will have a 50% off, discount to thank you for joining us for that webinar. And then there will be other surprises. There will be more cooking live with Gustavus, and there is a book that is in the works as well. So once more, thank you, and really, really, really mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting my efforts to make some special shows and purchasing some of those shows. You don't know how much it helps. And so I hope that you have a wonderful holiday season and a great start of 2021. And don't worry, I will be in touch through email because I have 2 gifts to send you. And I'm not going to tell you what they are, but I think they're pretty cool. And you will be getting that next week in an email, so be on the lookout for that. Goodbye, everybody, and thank you.